For centuries, the galaxy lived under one great rule. It was not written in stone, but it was older and stronger than any treaty. Even the Galactic Council, with all its power, guarded it carefully. The rule was simple: no one touches human children. The reason was never spoken loudly. Some said it was fear. Others said it was respect. But every species in the council knew the truth. When humans rose to defend their children, they did not stop. They did not forgive, and they never forgot. For a long time, the rule kept peace. Empires fought, worlds burned, but human children remained safe. To harm them meant to invite destruction. The law was sacred. But laws, even sacred ones, can be broken. Far from Earth, on quiet colonies hidden among the stars, children began to vanish. At first, it was only whispers. A single family reported their son gone after a night raid. On another world, a school transport never arrived. People thought it was pirates, or accidents, or bad luck. But the whispers grew. Colony after colony reported the same dark pattern. Humanity felt unease spreading like cold wind. Parents clutched their children tighter. Colonists built walls and armed patrols. And still, the disappearances continued. The Galactic Council was silent. No investigation came. No warning was given. When humans brought their fears before the chamber of the council, the alien delegates looked away. Some muttered about lack of evidence. Others dismissed it as human exaggeration. But deep inside, humanity knew. This was no accident. This was no pirate raid. A great empire had broken the sacred law, and the council, for reasons unknown, had chosen to ignore it. Among the stars, in the shadow of forgotten trade routes, a small ship drifted. It was not large or powerful. Its name was Starlight's Whisper, and it belonged to Captain Reza Hale. She and her crew were traders, smugglers when needed, survivors always. But fate had chosen them for something greater. One night, as they hid in the dust clouds of a red dwarf system, they picked up a faint signal. It was weak, broken, almost lost its static. Reza's second officer begged her to ignore it. Signals like that were often traps. But something in the sound froze Reza's blood. A child's scream. They followed the signal, cutting through abandoned corridors of forgotten space. Hours later, they reached the wreck of a freighter. Its hull was scorched, its engines cold. No life signs remained. But inside, hidden in the memory core of a broken drone, was a recording. The crew gathered in silence as Reza played it. The holo image flickered to life. They saw cages, small cages. Inside them were human children, wide-eyed with terror. Around them stood towering alien figures, their armor black and marked with crests of fire. The children cried for their parents. Some screamed. Some prayed. And then came the worst part. The aliens spoke. Their words were clear. The council will not stop us. The law is dead. The humans will learn their place. The crew stared in horror. The law had been broken, openly, proudly, and the council had chosen to remain blind. Reza's hands shook as she ended the recording. She looked at her crew. "If we carry this, the galaxy changes," she whispered. "If the humans see this, there will be war." Some of her crew begged her to destroy it. "The Empire will hunt us," one cried. "The Council will deny it, call us liars. We will die for nothing." But others shook their heads. "If we hide the truth, the children die. More will vanish, and no one will ever know." Reza felt the weight of 1,000 choices press on her shoulders. She did not want to be a hero. She only wanted to live. But now, survival meant silence, and silence meant betrayal. She made her choice. "We send it," she said, "to Earth, to every human leader. The law is broken, and humanity must know." The crew obeyed, fear etched on their faces. They prepared the transmission. Data poured into the comms array, wrapped in codes and shadows, racing toward the blue jewel of Earth. But even as a message left the ship, the stars outside began to change. Sensors screamed. Reza rushed to the controls. From the void, shapes emerged, sleek and dark warships, their hulls painted with the same fiery crest seen in the recording. The enemy had found them. Engines roared as Starlight's Whisper tried to flee. The crew fought with trembling hands, throwing every scrap of power into their drives. Lays of fire lit the void, carving scars across their hull. Metal groaned, shields buckled. Riza's last hope was that the transmission had escaped before the hunters arrived. If the message reached Earth, humanity would know. If it did not, her crew's sacrifice would vanish like dust in the dark. The enemy ships closed in. Their weapons flared. Riza whispered a final prayer. And then, silence. The screen went black. Cliffhanger. The ship's starlight's whisper drifted through the black void, broken and burning. Captain Riza Hale sat at the controls, her hands trembling as alarms screamed around her. The enemy warships had closed in fast, faster than she had believed possible. Their weapons had torn into a vessel like wolves tearing apart prey. Yet still, her eyes stayed on the comm screen. She whispered the same words again and again. Send, send. The transmission bar inched forward, light crawling across the display. If the message made it to Earth, then maybe her crew's deaths would mean something. Maybe the galaxy would finally know the truth, that the sacred law was shattered and human children were being taken. Her second officer shouted from back. Shields gone. They are charging for the kill. Riza swallowed hard. Her choice was made. Prepare the core for overload, she ordered. If they want us, they will not take us alive. The crew obeyed, their faces pale. The enemy ships circled like predators, waiting for the final strike. Riza glanced once more at the transmission bar. It reached the end, then blinked green. Message sent. For the first time that night, Riza allowed herself a small smile. But it was brief. The alien weapons fired. Starlight's whisper was swallowed in light, and then it was gone. Far away, across the void, a small outpost caught the transmission. Its receivers were weak, its operators tired, but the signal broke through the static. A technician rubbed his eyes, thinking it was a malfunction. Then he saw the images, children in cages, crying for their parents. He saw the alien crest of fire, and he heard the words, "The law is dead." His hands shook as he copied the file. This was not for him to decide. This was for Earth. This was for humanity. He sent a message forward, bouncing it through relays and shadow networks until it was on a direct course for the homeworld. On Earth, weeks later, in the great city of Geneva, the human leaders gathered in secret. The chamber was quiet, the air heavy with fear and fury. On the central screen, the recording played once more. Delegates leaned forward, jaws tight, eyes burning. No one spoke as the image of the children filled the room. When the clip ended, silence lingered. Then, slowly, the voices rose. "They dared," whispered one admiral, his fists clenched. "They dared break the only law that kept the stars in balance." Another slammed the table. "The Council ignored this. They let it happen. They betrayed us all." For decades, humans had played by the Council's rules. They had kept peace, paid their dues, and held their fury in check. But now the mask was torn away. The truth was written in fire across the screen. The Council had failed them. The galaxy had abandoned them. And the aliens had taken their children. Not all were eager for war. Some feared the cost. "We must be careful," warned a senior diplomat. "If we move too fast, we risk destruction. We are strong, but not endless. The empire that did this, their fleets are vast." But others shouted him down. "If we do nothing, they will take more. They will never stop. We cannot beg for justice from liars. We must take it ourselves." The chamber erupted into chaos. Voices argued, plans clashed, anger burned. But in the end, a decision was made. Humanity would not sit silent. Humanity would prepare. Outside the halls of power, whispers spread among the people. On the streets, in the colonies, across every outpost, the same question was asked: who will protect our children if not us? Mothers and fathers armed themselves. Veterans rejoined the fleets. Scientists dug up hidden projects long locked away. For the first time in centuries, Earth's nations set aside their old rivalries. A single fire burned in their hearts, one word carried from mouth to mouth: vengeance. But the enemy did not wait. Deep in the black void, alien commanders gathered. They had seen the human transmission. They knew the truth was spreading, and so they made a choice of their own. "Hunt them," the alien general hissed. His crest of fire glowed under the warship's lights. Every ship, Every scout, every human voice a days to spread this truth. Destroy them. From hidden bases, fleets launched. Dark ships glided through the void, silent as knives, searching for any who carried evidence. Already, rumors whisper that one more vessel held a copy of the recording. A courier ship, small and fast, making its way through the fringe systems. If it reached Earth, the galaxy would burn. The aliens swore it would not. Back in human space, that courier ship drifted quietly through the stars. Its captain, a young officer named Elias Cade, carried the precious data deep in his ship's core. He did not yet know that hunters were closing in. Every shadow, every star, could hide an enemy. The void felt heavy, silent, too still. His crew spoke in whispers, as if afraid the dark itself was listening. Elias stared at a comm display, the file glowing like a heartbeat. "If this reaches Earth," he murmured, "the galaxy will never be the same." But outside, far in the darkness, alien ships adjusted their course. Their weapons warmed. Their prey had been found. The hunt had begun. Cliffhanger. The courier ship starbound Echo raced through the cold dark. Its engines burned bright, cutting across the void like a comet. Inside, Captain Elias Cade sat stiff in his chair, his eyes locked on the navigation screen. In the ship's core, the most dangerous file in the galaxy waited, a recording of children in cages, stolen by aliens who swore the sacred law no longer mattered. The message was already on its way to Earth, bouncing across hidden relays. But Elias carried the backup, the proof, the final chance that the relays were destroyed. Every second brought him closer to home, and every second brought hunters closer to him. On Earth, the first fragment of the message had already arrived. In a secure chamber under the Atlantic Council dome, the file played before the eyes of generals, scientists, and leaders. The voices of the alien captors filled the room, bold and mocking. "The law is dead. The Council will not stop us." Gasps and curses erupted across the chamber. Some leaders turned pale. Others slammed their fists against the table. "This cannot be ignored," growled Admiral Stone, commander of Earth's defense fleets. "This is no pirate raid, no accident. This is war declared on our children." The old diplomat, Minister Hale, shook his head. His voice was weary, trembling. "If we rise to fight, the Council will brand us outlaws. The empire that did this is powerful, far stronger than us. If we fight, we may burn." Admiral Stone leaned forward, his voice sharp. "And if we do not fight, our children will vanish. Tell me, Minister, what is the worth of survival if our children are stolen in the dark?" The chamber fell silent. The question hung heavy in the air. Word of the recording spread beyond the council dome. First whispers, then shouts. Across colonies and cities, people saw the stolen images. Children crying, parents begging for help. The alien crest of fire glowing in the dark. Anger erupted like wildfire. Workers left their factories and signed up for the fleet. Engineers pulled hidden blueprints from vaults marked classified. Retired soldiers returned to service. Scientists reopened weapons programs that had been buried for fear of the Council's judgment. Humanity was changing. For centuries, humans had followed the Council's laws, seeking peace, building trade, avoiding war. But now, they felt only betrayal. The Council had ignored the broken law. The galaxy had turned its back. Now humanity would rise alone. Meanwhile, far across the stars, Captain Elias Cade's ship slipped between asteroid fields. The shadows of alien warships followed close, their drives dimmed, their weapons armed. Elias stared at the sensors, watching the red dots close in. His first officer leaned close. "Captain, we can't outrun them forever." "I know," Elias said. His jaw was tight, his voice steady. "But we don't have to. We just have to last long enough for Earth to prepare." The crew exchanged nervous glances. They all knew what it meant. Their mission was not survival, it was sacrifice. Back on Earth, preparations had begun in secret. Deep under the oceans, shipyards lit up with hidden activity. Titans of steel and plasma, human warships, were pulled from dry dock and armed for battle. On Mars, old military bases came alive again. Soldiers trained day and night, their drills echoing across the dust plains. On Luna, Scientists tested weapons long forbidden by the Council, rail cannons that could crack moons, torpedoes that rode on waves of gravity, fleets of drones built for war. Everywhere, humanity moved with quiet fury. They did not announce their plans. They did not seek permission. The time for asking was over. But the aliens were not blind. In their command halls, the Empire's generals studied reports of human activity. Their leader, a towering figure known as High Marshal Kravos, snarled in rage. They dare defy us? They dare resist? We will break them before they rise. An aide bowed low. The humans gather fleets in secret, my lord, but they are not ready yet. If we strike soon, we can end them before they fight back. Kravos' eyes burned with pride. Then strike. Burn their colonies. Cut their supply lines. Show them what happens when laws are broken. The first fires of war were about to spread. On a small colony near Proxima, alien ships emerged from the void. They came without warning, without mercy. They struck at farms, schools, and ports. Humanity's defenses were weak there, unprepared. The ground shook as fire rained from the sky. But this time, the humans did not fall silent. They fought back. Farmers grabbed rifles. Miners turned drills into weapons. Parents shielded their children with blood and steel. The aliens expected easy prey. Instead, they found fury. Word of the battle raced through human space. Stories spread of colonists who stood against warships with nothing but courage and rage. Some died. Some survived. But all became sparks that lit a greater fire. Humanity was no longer waiting. Humanity was awakening. Far from Proxima, Captain Elias Cade's ship broke from the asteroid field. Ahead lay the final jump gate to human space. Behind him, alien hunters close in. His navigator cried out, "They'll catch us before we reach the gate." Elias clenched his fists. He had one last trick left, a risky jump, too dangerous for normal ships. But if it worked, they would be home. He gave the order, "Do it." The ship's drive screamed. Space door opened, and starbound Echo leapt into the unknown. Behind them, the alien hunters followed. The chase was not over. Cliffhanger. The void of space was never truly silent. Ships whispered across it. Colonies hummed with life, and trade routes pulsed with energy. But now, for the first time in centuries, humanity moved in silence. From the shadows of Earth's orbit to the frozen shipyards of Neptune, projects long hidden were awakened. Factories that once built peaceful cargo haulers now forged the hulls of warships. Assembly lines ran without pause, workers pushing day and night. Entire fleets were being born in secret. On Mars, soldiers drilled in the crimson dust. They wore no bright banners, no open symbols. Their armor was plain, their faces grim. Every day, their commanders reminded them, this is not for conquest, this is for survival. On Luna, scientists unlocked vaults that had been sealed for generations. Inside lay weapons the Council had ordered destroyed, rail cannons that fired at near light speed, torpedoes that bent gravity, swarms of drones that could fight without rest. Humanity had hidden them, waiting for a day they prayed would never come. Now, that day was here. Among the stars, rumors spread. Alien traders whispered of humans who bought strange metals in bulk, of convoys guarded by unusual ships, of colonies that suddenly stopped answering calls. To many, it looked like fear. To a few, it looked like something worse. In the high halls of the alien empire, Marshal Kravos heard the reports. His commanders bowed low, afraid to bring him news. "The humans are preparing, my lord," one said. "Not openly, but they gather strength." Kravos' crest glowed with rage. "They are weak. Their fleets are nothing beside ours. They cling to old machines, old dreams. When we strike, they will crumble." But even he felt a shadow of unease. For centuries, the humans had been loud, passionate, quick to anger. Now, they were silent, and silence from humans was never safe. Back on Earth, Admiral Stone stood in a vast hangar where a new battleship was being completed. Its name was carved into the steel, Horizon's Wrath. She was larger than any human ship before her guns long enough to pierce a city, her armor forged from alloys tested against the harshest suns. As the Admiral walked across the deck, his officers saluted. He stopped before them, his voice steady, his words simple. They broke the law. They took our children. The council turned away. Now we prepare, not for revenge alone, but to remind the galaxy of who we are. The soldiers answered with one voice. Humanity stands. In the colonies, ordinary people felt the storm gathering. A farmer on Europa trained his daughter to shoot while drones patrolled his fields. A teacher on Ceres taught her students history not from books, but from battle simulations. A mechanic on Titan built hidden weapons into his mining rigs. Everywhere, humanity sharpened itself. Not just fleets and guns, but spirit. For they knew this war would not be easy. They would need every ounce of courage, every drop of will. Meanwhile, Captain Elias Cade and his crew finally broke through to human space. Their ship was battered, scarred, but alive. The backup recording still pulsed in the core, a silent witness to the crime. When they arrived at the fleet headquarters, Elias handed the data to Admiral Stone himself. The old warrior studied the young captain with sharp eyes. "You risked everything to bring this," Stone said. Elias shook his head. "I didn't risk it, sir. We all did. My crew gave their lives. I only finished the job." The Admiral placed a heavy hand on his shoulder. "Then their sacrifice will not be forgotten. You've given us what we need. Now it begins." But the enemy had no intention of waiting. Alien scouts prowled near human borders. Merchant routes were cut, colonies raided. Small fleets appeared, striking quick, testing defenses. Each attack left fire and loss behind. The council remained silent. Some delegates whispered warnings to humans in secret, but none dared to speak openly. Fear of the Empire was too strong. And so, humanity stood alone. One night, in the outer colonies, a mining station vanished. Sensors recorded a brief burst of energy, then silence. No survivors, no signals, only fragments of metal drifting in the void. When word reached Earth, the reaction was not fear. It was fury. Humanity had endured much, but each attack only hardened their resolve. Each loss carved steel into their hearts. The storm was no longer coming. It was already here. In the depths of a secret command bunker, Admiral Stone gathered his generals and captains. Maps of the stars glowed above the table. Red markers showed the alien empire's borders, burning across half the galaxy. He pointed to them, his voice low but unshaken. "They believe us weak. They believe we will bow. But they have forgotten something." "What, sir?" one officer asked. Stone's eyes burned like fire. "They have forgotten what humans become when you threaten our children." At that same moment, on the other side of the stars, Marshal Kravos' fleets prepared to move. Thousands of ships, weapons primed, engines burning. Two storms, one human and one alien, were racing toward each other. And when they met, the galaxy itself would tremble. Cliffhanger. In the deep black between the stars, a convoy of alien warships moved slowly through space. Their holds carried cages filled with stolen children, human children. The aliens guarded them with pride, knowing the council would do nothing. To them, it was a show of power, a message. The humans cannot stop us. But they were not alone. Hidden in the dust clouds of a dead star system, humanity's secret fleet waited. Admiral Stone stood on the bridge of Horizon's Wrath, his eyes locked on the tactical display. Around him, dozens of new warships floated in silence. Cruisers, frigates, carriers. Their crews were young, untested, but their hearts burned with fury. "Sir," his aide whispered, "convoy entering range." Stone's jaw tightened. For weeks, he had prepared for this moment. For months, humanity had been silent, building in the shadows. Tonight, that silence would break. "Signal the fleet," Stone said. His voice was calm, steady. "Humanity strikes tonight." The order raced across the fleet. Engines roared to life, shields flared, and cannons powered up. From the darkness, human ships surged forward like wolves breaking from cover. The alien convoy never saw it coming. On board the lead alien warship, alarms screamed. Officers shouted in panic as human vessels appeared on their screens. One commander barked in disbelief. "Humans? Here? Impossible." But disbelief turned to terror as the first human salvo struck. Rail cannons fired bolts of metal faster than thought. Torpedoes screamed through the void, bending gravity around them. Entire alien cruisers were torn apart in seconds. The convoys scrambled to respond, but the humans were faster, sharper, filled with a rage the galaxy had not seen in centuries. Captain Elias Cade, now commanding a smaller strike frigate, dove into the fray. His ship weaved between enemy fire, its guns blazing. "For the Whisper!" he shouted, remembering the crew who had died to deliver the truth. His weapons tore through an alien escort, flames blooming across its hull. His crew cheered, but Elias's eyes stayed cold. This was not victory yet. In the chaos, human boarding teams launched. Small ships latched onto the alien convoy, cutting through hulls, storming corridors. The aliens fought with claws and plasma, but the humans fought with something greater, fury and desperation. "Find the cages," shouted one Marine. "Find the children." Through smoke and blood, they reached the holds. Doors were blown open. Inside, the children stared in shock, tears running down their faces. "We're here," whispered a soldier, lowering his weapon. "You're safe now." The children rushed into their arms. For the first time in weeks, their cries were answered. Back on the bridge of Horizon's Wrath, Admiral Stone received the report. His hard face softened. "The children live," he said quietly, but his relief was short-lived. New red markers appeared on the tactical screen. Reinforcements, alien war fleets, far larger than the convoy escorts, were racing to intercept. "Sir, they'll outnumber us 3-1, cried an officer. Stone stood tall. His eyes burned with defiance. "Then we will show them who we are." The battle grew fiercer. Alien reinforcements poured in, firing storms of plasma. Human ships burned, but they did not retreat. Every vessel fought to the last shot, every captain ready to die if it meant saving the children. Admiral Stone gave the order to form a defensive wall around the boarding ships. Human vessels locked into formation, taking hit after hit, shields failing, hulls cracking, but they held the line. Behind them, transport craft carried the rescued children away, slipping into jump space toward Earth. The mission was done. The proof was undeniable. The children were safe. But the cost had only begun. On the alien flagship, Marshal Kravos received the news with fury. His claws slammed against the command table, sparks flying. "The humans dare strike us. They dare rescue what is ours," he roared. His officers trembled before him. "They will pay. Burn their colonies. Burn their worlds. Leave nothing alive." The order spread like wildfire through the Empire. Entire fleets turned their guns toward human space. Back on Earth, when the children returned, the people wept with joy and rage. Parents clutched their sons and daughters, swearing vengeance. Leaders broadcast the images across every colony, every station, every home. The galaxy saw the truth. Humanity would not bow. Humanity would fight. But joy was shadowed by fear. For they all knew the Empire would strike back with everything it had. The first strike was only the beginning. In the quiet of his cabin, Admiral Stone stared at the stars. His aide entered, pale-faced. "Sir, reports confirm it. The Empire is moving. Their main fleet, millions of soldiers, thousands of warships. They are coming for us." Stone closed his eyes. The storm was no longer gathering. It was here. "Then let them come," he whispered. "They think they know humanity, but they have forgotten what we become when our children cry for us." Beyond Earth, alien fleets tore through the void, their weapons blazing, their war drums echoing across the stars. The galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. The war had begun. Cliffhanger. The Empire did not wait. Within days of the convoy attack, their fleet spread like fire through the void. Human colonies lit up with distress calls. Stations fell silent one after another. The Empire wanted vengeance, and they wanted it fast. On the galactic channels, the Council gave only empty words. They called for peace, for talks, but none dared confront the Empire. Their voices were whispers drowned out by screams. Humanity stood alone. Also the galaxy believed. On the mining colony of Vega 9, sirens wailed. Families rushed into shelters as alien warships descended. The skies turned red with fire as plasma rained down. Towers crumbled. The ground shook. But as the aliens moved in for the kill, the humans struck back. Hidden defense turrets rose from beneath the sands, launching swarms of missiles. Civilian ships, ordinary freighters, repurposed in secret, suddenly revealed railguns bolted to their hulls. From the shadows of asteroids, human frigates appeared. Their engines screamed as they cut into the alien formation. The aliens had expected fear. They found fury. Captain Elias Cade's ship was among them. His crew, scarred from the first strike, fought with sharpened resolve. "Target their engines," he ordered. "We don't let them leave this system alive." His frigate's cannons roared, smashing into an alien cruiser. Fire and metal tore through the void. All around him, Vega 9 became a battlefield. Not just soldiers fought, miners, workers, engineers, all had prepared. They turned cargo haulers into battering rams, power tools into weapons. The aliens, shocked by the resistance, lost ships faster than they could replace them. Vega 9 burned, but it did not fall. Admiral Stone, commanding from Horizon's Wrath, watched reports flood in from other colonies. Yes, some worlds were destroyed, their defenses crushed, but others stood firm. Humanity's rage had awakened something no empire had seen before. Ordinary people became warriors. Civilizations that once mocked humanity now watched with unease. So, an officer reported, "Our forces on Vega 9 request reinforcements. They say they can hold if we send more ships." Stone leaned forward. His voice was steel. "Then we send them everything we have." Far across the stars, Marshal Cravo seethed. The first battles had not gone as he promised his empire. Human losses were heavy, but so were theirs. Entire fleets had been slowed, pinned, or destroyed. "This is not possible," Cravo growled. "They are weak. They are small. They should break like glass." But reports kept coming. Human traps, ambushes, guerrilla tactics. Colonies refusing to die. The humans fought like no other species. "They strike like fire," whispered one of his commanders. "Everywhere, all at once. We crush one flame, 10 more eyes." Cravo's eyes burned. "Then we burn their cradle. Earth itself. Prepare the fleet." Back on Vega 9, Elias Cade stood on the shattered surface. Smoke choked the sky, and wreckage littered the fields. His uniform was scorched, his body bruised, but he was alive. His people were alive. He looked at the bodies of the fallen, friends, soldiers, civilians. Rage burned inside him. "They think this will break us," he said quietly. "They have no idea what they've started." Above him, Horizon's Wrath descended through the clouds, its shadow stretching across the ruined colony. Humanity was gathering its strength. The galaxy began to whisper again. Merchants carried tales of human victories, small but fierce. Entire alien squadrons destroyed by colonists with scavenged weapons. Convoys vanishing into ambushes. The humans were not retreating. They were growing stronger. Some species began to watch closely. A few even began to wonder, should they help the humans? But fear was stronger than hope. No one moved. In the war room aboard Horizon's Wrath, Admiral Stone studied the stars. A map glowed before him, filled with red. The Empire's fleets spreading wider each day. One of his aides spoke. "So, if they attack Earth, we won't be ready." The Admiral's face hardened. "Then we must change the war. We don't wait for them to come. We take the fight to them." Silence filled the room. The officers stared at him in shock. "Strike the Empire," one whispered. "Their core systems." Stone's gaze did not waver. "Yes, they hunt our children. They burn our worlds. Let them see how it feels when fire falls on theirs." But even as plans formed, the Empire moved faster. On the edge of human space, vast alien fleets gathered, bigger than anything humanity had ever seen. One scout ship barely escaped, carrying a single message. They are coming, not for a colony, not for a fleet, for Earth itself. Admiral Stone closed his eyes when the words reached him. Earth, the heart of humanity, the cradle of its children, its history, its dreams. He stood before his officers, his voice calm but sharp as a blade. Then the galaxy will witness our fury. They will see what happens when an empire dares to strike at our home. Far away, Earth's skies already trembled. Shadows stretched across the blue. Civilian eyes turned upward in fear as strange lights appeared in orbit. The war was no longer distant. It had come home. Cliffhanger. The day had come. For weeks, humanity had fought in distant colonies, in asteroid belts, in forgotten stations. But now the war was no longer far away. It had come to Earth, the cradle of mankind. In orbit above the blue planet, human fleets gathered. Old ships, new ships, even converted civilian vessels, all stood side by side. Every available craft was armed, every pilot ready. This was not just another battle. This was survival. On the bridge of Horizon's Wrath, Admiral Stone watched the tactical map. It was filled with red, alien ships, thousands of them, blotting out the stars as they approached. His aide whispered, fear in her voice. So, their fleet is 3 times our size. Stone's jaw tightened. Numbers don't win wars. Resolve does. He turned to his officers, his voice rising. This is Earth. Behind us our families, our children, everything we are. Today, we fight not for victory, but for survival, and we will make them pay for every inch of sky. The order rang out, prepare for battle. The alien empire arrived with thunder. Vast warships slid into orbit, their cannons glowing with power. The skies above Earth darkened, shadows stretching across the oceans and continents. Billions of people below looked upward in fear. Marshal Cravo stood on the bridge of his flagship, his eyes burning with hatred. End them, he snarled. Show the galaxy what happens when humans defy us. And the first shots were fired. The battle exploded in light. Human railguns spat molten steel across the void. Alien plasma burned like suns. Missiles streaked between ships, flares of destruction tearing the blackness apart. The first wave hit the human defenses hard. Frigates shattered, carriers burst into flames. Thousands died in minutes. But humanity struck back. Hidden orbital cannons, buried deep within Earth's crust, rolled from the oceans and continents. They fired beams of pure energy that ripped through alien shields. Massive explosions lit up the sky, shaking both fleets. Captain Elias Cade's frigate darted through the chaos. His ship was battered, shields flickering, but his crew refused to stop. Target the heavy guns. Elias shouted. His ship fired again and again, tearing holes in the alien line. Beside him, civilian ships fought like war veterans. A mining vessel rammed an alien destroyer, both ships vanishing in fire. Old cargo freighters turned themselves into living torpedoes, sacrificing everything to protect Earth. Humanity's fury filled the void. On the surface of Earth, the people prepared too. Cities went dark, power grid shifted to defense mode. Families huddled in bunkers. Soldiers manned orbital elevators, spaceports, and ground cannons. From Africa to Asia, from the Americas to Europe, from the moon to Mars, every human settlement was awake, ready. If the enemy landed, they would fight on the ground. Humanity would not kneel. The aliens pressed harder. Their fleets cut deeper into human lines. One by one, ships exploded, leaving burning wrecks that fell into the atmosphere. On his flagship, Marshal Cravos grinned. They break, he growled. Push harder. Crush their cradle. But his smile faded when his second-in-command rushed to him. Marshal, reports show losses. Too many, more than expected. Their defenses. Silence. Cravos roared. I will see Earth burn with my own eyes. He ordered his flagship forward, straight toward Earth. Admiral Stone saw the movement. His face hardened. They are coming for the kill, he said. All ships, form a wall. Protect the planet. Human vessels shifted, locking into a desperate formation. They took the blows, shields collapsing, hulls breaking. But they held. Horizon's Wrath fired volley after volley, its cannons glowing red-hot. The ship shuddered under enemy fire, alarms screaming, but Stone stood unshaken. This is not the day Earth falls, he whispered. Then it happened. An alien superweapon charged. A massive beam of plasma lanced through space, tearing through 3 human ships in one strike. The beam turned toward Earth. The world below watched in horror as the weapon fired again, straight at the planet. But at the last second, a human carrier moved into its path. The beam ripped through it, the ship exploding in a storm of light. Thousands of lives vanished in an instant, but Earth was saved. Silence fell for a heartbeat. Then rage swept across the human fleet. Elias's voice rang out across the comms. For oath! Every ship surged forward. Damaged, burning, broken, they charged anyway. They fired with everything left. Missiles, cannons, ramming maneuvers. Alien ships began to fall. The Empire's fleet, though vast, started to waver under the sheer fury of humanity. Marshal Cravo snarled. Impossible. They are insects. They cannot hold us. But deep inside, even he began to feel something he had never felt before. Doubt. The battle raged on Earth's skies filled with fire and death. Billions below prayed. Millions above fought. And then something changed. A transmission cut across every channel, human and alien alike. A voice echoed through the chaos. This is not just humanity's fight. The voice said, this is a warning to all who break the law of the galaxy. Stand with us or fall with them. The fleet commanders froze. Who had sent the message? Another human or someone else? On Horizon's Wrath, Admiral Stone stared at the transmission. His eyes narrowed. Find the source, he ordered. The officer hesitated. So, it's not coming from Earth. It's coming from beyond our system. Stone's heart pounded. If it was not human, then who was it? Above Earth, the battle still roared, but now a new question filled the void. Had humanity just gained an ally, or a new enemy? Cliffhanger. The skies of Earth still burned. Alien warships pressed forward, their cannons ripping through human lines. Explosions lit the heavens, wreckage falling into the oceans and deserts below. The battle seemed endless, each minute costing thousands of lives. And yet, through the storm, that voice still echoed across every channel. This is not just humanity's fight. This is a warning. Stand with them, or fall with those who break the sacred law. Every fleet commander, human and alien alike, heard it. On Horizon's Wrath, Admiral Stone gripped the console. Trace it, he ordered. His officers worked quickly. At last, one spoke. So, the signal comes from a fleet beyond Pluto's orbit. Unknown design. Not human. Stone's heart thudded. Allies? Or another threat? The answer came seconds later. Out of the blackness, vast ships appeared. Sleek, ancient, glowing with light not made by human hands. They moved with grace, their weapons humming like thunder held in chains. The comms lit up again. We are the Kyren, the voice said. Long ago, we swore to uphold the Council's law. When the Council grew weak, we vanished into silence. But now the law has been broken. Children stolen. Innocents harmed. The Empire must be judged. Stone's eyes narrowed. Then you stand with us. The voice paused. We stand with the law. And today, humanity is a law. The galaxy shifted in that moment. The alien empire laughed at humanity's small fleets. But now, they faced two enemies. The Kyren ships opened fire, beams of light cutting through the Empire's warships like paper. Their weapons shattered shields, their precision flawless. Marshal Kravos roared in fury as his vessels were torn apart. Traitors, you dare side with insects. But his rage could not stop the collapse. His once invincible armada faltered. Humanity did not waste a chance. Push forward. Admiral Stone shouted. Drive them from our skies. Every human ship surged with renewed strength. Elias Cade's frigate, half destroyed, fought like a beast. His crew cheered as their guns tore into the enemy. On Earth's surface, defenses lit up, blasting any ship that dared break through. Civilians watched from shelters as alien wrecks fell like burning stars. The tide had turned, but the Empire was not finished. Marshal Kravos, desperate, ordered his flagship to unleash its final weapon, a doomsday cannon meant to pierce planets. Its massive core glowed, brighter and brighter, aimed straight at Earth. Admiral Stone saw it on the tactical display. His blood ran cold. Target that cannon, he barked. If it fires, Earth is lost. Every human ship that could still move turned its guns. The Kyren joined, beams cutting into the flagship shields. But the weapon continued to charge, a growing star death. Elias Cade knew what had to be done. His frigate was broken, shields gone, engines failing. He looked at his crew. They understood without words. "For the children," Elias whispered. He pushed his ship forward, faster and faster, straight into the cannon's mouth. The enemy flagship tried to stop him, but it was too late. Elias's frigate slammed into the weapon's core. The explosion lit the void brighter than dawn. The flagship split in half, fire consuming it. The doomsday cannon was gone. Elias and his crew were gone too. Silence followed. For a heartbeat, the battle froze. Then humanity roared. The alien empire's fleet broke. Ships scattered, commanders panicked. The once mighty invaders fled Earth's skies, leaving only wreckage and silence behind. Earth had survived. On Horizon's Wrath, Admiral Stone stood in silence, watching the last enemy ships vanish. His chest was heavy with grief for the fallen, but his eyes were hard with resolve. "Signal to all colonies," he said. "Earth stands. Humanity stands." The message spread like wildfire. Across the galaxy, every species heard it. The Empire had been stopped. The law had been defended. Humanity, once thought weak, now stood as a force no one could ignore. Far away, in the ruins of his fleet, Marshal Cravo stared at the wreckage with burning eyes. His empire still lived, but its pride was shattered. "This is not the end," he hissed. "One day, I will see their world burn." But deep down, even Cravos knew something had changed forever. Back on Earth, children rescued from cages walked freely again. Families embraced. Bells rang across cities. Humanity had bled, but it had not broken. In the quiet after the war, Admiral Stone stood alone at a viewport, watching the stars. He thought of Elias, of the countless lost, of the promise now etched into history. "They thought harming our children would break us," he whispered. "Instead, it made us stronger. Let the galaxy remember that." The stars burned brighter that night, as if the universe itself bore witness. Humanity had survived fire. Humanity had risen in fury, and humanity would never kneel again. The end.